Welcome to this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. I'm your host, Lia Chang. Today I'm sitting down with my friend, Jason Tam, star of stage, screen, and television. You play many parts, so
Yes.
How did you get cast for this part, and how many roles do you actually play?
Okay, so in The White Chip, I play a character named Number 2, and Number 2 plays the majority of the male-identifying roles in the show, and that I've never actually sat down and fully counted out all of them, but I would say it's close to about 18 different characters. And some of the characters only have one line, and literally you see them for a second and then they're gone, and some of them are recurring, and some of them have really long scenes, and it's all over the place, but about 18 different characters. And I got involved because Joe Tapper, who plays Steven, the main character in the show, and I share the same manager, Beth Rosner.
Okay.
And so she alerted me to this opportunity. And also I had done a bunch of workshops with Sheryl Kaller, who directed this. But we had never done a full-on production before. But we fell in love with each other. I just think the world of her as a director. And I'm so lucky that she thinks the world of me as an artist. And so she also asked if I would come on board for a workshop that happened back last April here at MCC. It was about 5 days. And from that, we got some momentum to have this production here today.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the themes of the show, addiction, recovery, addiction, recovery,
Yeah.
that's what The White Chip refers to.
Yeah.
What was your take on it when you first looked at the script?
My take on it was that it handled the material, addiction and recovery, which can, with honor, by honoring what it is, and by that I mean acknowledging the depth of it, the heartbreak of it, but also looking at it through the lens of humor and joy, and I thought that it did that so wisely, because you take this subject matter that could potentially be a little off-putting, maybe it might be hard for certain people to absorb the information, but when you are looking at it through this lens of humor, and also honoring somebody's journey towards sobriety, through addiction and towards sobriety, it makes the message more palatable.
Have you had any personal experience, like family members or friends? And if so, how you navigate through the show as it unfolds, if you have had that kind of experience?
All of the above. I don't know that there's a single person on this planet that hasn't been touched either, directly by this disease, by addiction, or knows somebody in their family, a friend, a lover, all of it. And the way I've learned a lot, honestly, by doing this show. I've learned, I would never try to cast myself as, a specialist, but I've learned the quick pitch for sobriety, to have the language to talk about it with somebody if it comes up, and if I think somebody might need a nudge,
Right.
To destigmatize mental health and addiction, and let people know that it's okay, that it's not about shame and weakness, it's purely about science and chemicals and what's going on in your body, and that it's okay to reach out for help, and that this is, I think 1 in 3 households is directly affected by this. I think my sister wouldn't mind me talking about this, but she's sober, and she's my older sister, Emily. She's been sober for a very long time, over 10 years. And you get to a certain point where, all of a sudden I was like, oh, it's easy for you. I just assume, oh, you got it,
No.
But
it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It is 10 years of one day at a time. And that one day at a time, 365 days a year, adds up, and that becomes thousands of one day at a times. And that's a huge accomplishment. And so, yeah, I never want to take somebody's sobriety for granted ever again. And also, help them celebrate it and feel proud about it and feel like it's an accomplishment that they can celebrate.
Well, I certainly find it fascinating when, let's say we're all in a bar and someone has had issues and are trying to be sober.
Yeah.
And a person insists, oh, just one will be okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's so ingrained in our culture, drinking, and
especially the theater.
Especially the theater.
People go to hang out afterwards.
Yeah.
Everyone is about drinking.
And there's this, this concept of the tortured artist. I can't really be doing my truest work unless I'm suffering and unless I'm, on these substances. It can be so tricky to navigate.
And so what kind of responses have you been having from audiences?
The most amazing responses, and it's fascinating because the audience, there's a lot of direct address in the show.
Well, the audience is a character.
That's right.
Right?
And
that's how I felt.
Yes.
I was in row H, and I'm like, okay.
I'm in the show. It's not immersive and it's not interactive, but it's a small theater, so it's intimate. And Joe Tapper, as the main character Stephen, is talking to the audience for a huge portion of the show. And so they are like another character in the show, and they're different every night. It's like doing the show and the character played by the audience is cast by a different person every single time. That's what it feels like. And we've had the most amazing responses, both from people that are just looking for a good story because it's a really quick, good, funny, efficient 90-minute story, or people that have come and felt like, oh, thank you for letting me understand my father better, to understand where he was coming from, to be able to forgive him and know that he loved me and know what he was dealing with, or people coming who are dealing with addiction themselves and saying, I'm 30 years sober, thank you for telling this story. Or people who say, I am an addict, but I'm not sober right now. And thankfully, our producers have put in place, all these different kinds of resources that people can scan with a QR code and find and reach out for help. And also, Joe and Sean Daniels are both proudly sober. And so they have also been reaching out to people to encourage them, because that's part of the 12 steps, is that the 12th step is I believe, an act of service, is giving away sobriety, is promising that you will always be there for the next person who's seeking help. And that in giving it away, in giving sobriety away, you get to keep it.
Yes, I come from a family. I have a lot of people in my life who are alcoholics.
Yeah.
I've not ever experienced someone trying to get sober or to have a path to sobriety. So it was a real eye opener to see this show.
Yeah.
You got extended a week, so audiences, I have only 2 more performances to see.
Yeah. But also, I don't think that this is the end of this show. I think there will be more of it. It's just a matter of finding the right place for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was produced originally off-Broadway for a short period of time.
That's right. In 2019, 59 East 59th Street.
Okay.
And they wanted to transfer it somewhere else, but
then the pandemic
happened. Yeah.
So that's all for now, because Jason has a show to do. But thank you so much for joining me for this edition of Backstage Pass with Lia Chang. Until next time.